Got No Control Podcast, graffiti podcast for all graffiti writers. I am your host, Ronek. And before I introduce my guest today, I want to make some announcements. First, I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Made Fresh Shop, located in Dominguez, California, inside of Del Amo Indoor. Make sure to check them out for all your graffiti needs and supplies. Also, they offer airbrush supplies and airbrush services. Second announcement I want to make, I just released my custom box. And this custom box, I'm going to be putting a bunch of goodies for my Patreons. So make sure to check out the Patreon. And with that being said, I want to introduce my special guest today, Mark7. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good.
And I want to say thank you for stopping by and, give me a little bit of your time.
Yeah.
Talk some graph,
Indeed.
So we got Mid-City LA in the building. Let's talk about that, brother. How was it coming up for you into the graffiti world in Mid-City LA?
Okay. Well, coming up in Mid-City LA, it was a challenge. It was a beautiful era before all the black iron fences and all that, like in the 80s when the crack era kicked. But it was tough, and it was the developing gang things, like where I was in Mid-City. Before some of the next 80s gangs, there was like the Harpies, 18 Streets, and then there was the development of the 20s in the Blood area where I went to school.
Yeah.
And lived half a portion of my life. Then there was the Crip gangs, the Gears, Schoolyards, West Boulevards, Mansfields. So I was like kind of right in the middle of all that. Yeah, it's tough.
Okay. And for anybody out there that might be listening or will listen that doesn't understand where Mid-City is located at, can you share a couple cities in Mid-City?
Okay. Right there to hit you at the cross of it is the 10 freeway that runs through our side of town. Okay. And then there is on the left or the east end of it, there's everything from Venice Boulevard, Pico, Olympic, Wilshire, right, mid Wilshire. Then going to the south of it, you got Adams District, West Adams District. It extends all the way down to Culver City, right? Okay. And then like from the top of what can be labeled as mid city could be maybe up to like Vermont. You know what I mean? I always considered it that. Some people are a little touchy about that. Then going back down Adams, Jefferson, Jefferson Park. That's kind of like the main sectors. Yeah, for me with Mid-City. Yeah.
And where was young Mark7 at when he seen that very first graffiti, whether it was either a tag, a bomb, or a piece, and was like, damn, I want to do that?
Well, I can let me take it back to kindergarten. Right? And anything with that was it was more developed with just graffiti before the more bombs. So I can get to the bombs next, but the original graffiti that I seen would be, the block letters, the placos, right? And then in the hood gang riding throughout the neighborhood where you might catch the little smiley faces in the letters with the cuz or the blood, right? And then you would see them on the sidewalk in the alleys all around the local area, the Harpies. Eventually, as I moved around, I see the Primero Flats and the different barrios around the outside, Playboys even on the east side. But and then like I said, then the 18th Streets, and then eventually in the 80s, the Mid-City Stoners, and then the Drifters.
So being a kid, and from being a kid to today, you still have those memories of seeing all that gang graffiti and block letters and the faces?
That was a lot of the initial inspiration. Like I say, go back to kindergarten. I'm a kid who wants to express. What's cool stuff, right? Rodney Allen Rippey on commercials. This is before Different Strokes. And drawing, maybe trying to get bubble letters. The Slauson, well, they refer to it as Slauson. Some people say Stussy. It's that Suzuki, that S with the sharp edges at the top. And at the bottom, that was like just like you could learn how to do origamis. You could learn 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then
I even did that as a kid, bro.
Yeah, man, that was like the learning stages of trying to draw stuff and create three-dimensional or dimensional stuff, right? Cartoons had like the imagery, Mad Magazine. That was influential. So seeing my sister and my cousin, who was 5 years older than me, draw anything from flying saucers to gum sticky looking weird letters and stuff like that. That's my initial influence. But seeing the stuff on the outside on the walls was the cool in the streets. So that's why, you know, all that stuff had our influence, and you know, the letters with the bricks in them,
Yeah.
you know, with rags tied around them eventually as you start to see that, and, you know, teed up characters with their shirts down,
All
you know what I mean?
G'd up.
All G'd up,
Yeah.
hairnets.
Yeah.
So in that early era, in like up to my like 4th grade before I got bused to the valley,
Yeah.
then I started running across these little magazines. So I think they were teen angels, right? Because I later I know for sure they were teen angels because that's what the covers were.
Okay.
But I would find leaflet pieces of them up and down like 7th Ave.
We're talking about the
6th Ave.
lowrider teen angels?
Yeah,
Okay,
but
okay.
no cars in it, just strictly gang riding, character. You know, it's like, hey, it's an art book full of stuff,
Yeah.
right? I'm the kid who wanted to draw on the first pages of any book that had a white blank page.
Okay.
I wanted to do that. So when I seen pages that people drew, not even really no literature, it's like how Instagram is versus other platforms that are more words. Instagram has pictures. So these books had gang characters, guys with chains.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't even really see many guns back then. You seen chains and knives in the picture,
Okay.
right? So then, I mean, not to really just promote the negative aspect of it, but I'm just showing you the timeline of what kind of art was being out. And you could see, you know, the Vatos, or you could see black culture, black, you know, Afro character guys, buff.
Yeah.
Martial arts was heavy in. So we talking about the 70s. So
Martial arts like Taekwondo, karate type thing?
yeah. I actually took Taekwondo when I was in 5th grade.
Like that Wu-Tang Clan type
Wu-Tang.
shit?
See, look, and this is to not knock any music culture and genre that folks get into, is their experience for their culture with graph, because you get a lot of different. Well, I only listen to rock, and that's great because that's their experience.
Yeah.
But for my experience growing up, it kind of fell into the part of hip hop, and I could even pull pictures to show you. There were vatos that were cool badasses with martial arts, and there was brothers that was badass with martial arts. And so before, as a kid, not even really understanding the gang aspect of it,
Yeah.
just seeing a badass come out, you know what I mean, and being able to go, "Whoa," like Jim Kelly, like, you know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bruce Lee. This was influential. So
Yeah.
all this goes into a young kid in kindergarten through elementary school trying to be cool. Can you do some flips? Can you do these little kickstands and stuff?
And back then, bro, having this gang culture style writing, was there certain individuals that were like, all right, that's the guy doing the art? Or was it just like anonymous where nobody knew who was doing this?
Yeah. Well, back to in kindergarten, when we were just drawing,
Yeah.
we hadn't gotten to the letters yet, and then you would kind of start seeing who was influenced by their uncles or family
Yeah.
members that was starting to, oh, well, let's write these letters or try to be down with this, and walking around the playground and 5 and 6 deep, you know what I mean? You know.
And what
But
year was this, if you remember?
Okay, so I'm born in 69. So this is like 75, 74, 75.
Okay,
You know what I
okay.
mean? Like this era. Evil Knievel, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Noonchucks, the whole thing. So we drew Hot Wheels. Little cars, little wheels, big wheels, you
Yeah.
know, car high up in the back, you know, like that. So we drew a lot of that on the sidewalk. And that's why we, like our little crew, Window, Carlos, different cats that went to school at Arlington Heights with me at 7th Ave and 17th Street, which is a part of where I get the 7,
Yeah.
right, on 7th Ave and 17th Street. So we riding our stuff. We know whose cars because you could tell whoever's style. So that was my introduction to graffiti in that aspect of me partaking,
Okay.
right? Using charcoal, crayons, anything I could find to write on the ground from block to block. And you could be like 10 blocks or another neighborhood and you see some, hey, I know who that is. And that's the same thing I would see some 10, 15 years later with graffiti when I would be in other neighborhoods and I could
Yeah.
tell somebody's tag. So I was like, this is the same thing. It's just in a different way. So I guess I was born to be involved in it some way or another, right?
Okay.
And then as it elevated with the graffiti, so more to the question of what you're saying is, who did I see significant? Once again, there was a lot of the gang stuff. Look, you would get the Tarzan and
Yeah.
random stuff. You know what I mean? You'd get the bathroom stall graffiti. You know, you go to a park on the bus bench, or you would see random stuff called da da da. You know, just random stuff.
Yeah.
And all of that's considered cool because no matter what it is, it's just an expression. another thing. My uncle, who was about 6 years older, he
Okay.
collected. He was a big Hollywood buff, but he had the Mad magazines, a lot of comics, and he had heavy metal.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
gets plugged in, right?
Yeah.
I'm a kid who 7th through 9th grade. Here you get Stray Cats,
Yeah.
rockabilly stuff. I'm into ska and mod. So I'm in just a whole
Because
bowl of
it was a
subcultures.
whole different time back then than today.
Yeah, yeah, it was dope. And even though I can kind of look at my experience of hip hop and that or all those mixed cultures as maybe look, I'm almost like maybe the age of some of the dudes that I look at as G's, like
Okay.
that I might have been like influenced by it and maybe not moving with them quite yet.
Yeah.
I didn't get out into the streets as much till 14 and 15. I lost my pops at 16.
Okay.
So that really gave me freedom. Now, there might have been cats that was out there a little younger, but might be my same age or only 2 years older.
Yeah.
But looking at what was happening from the East Coast, and they would talk about, and I can't quote these timelines, but I just remember as I first started seeing the stuff from New York, it was the Blondie video, and that would be with Fab Five, and you would see the bomb graffiti in the background. And you might see something in the magazine on the young hearts be free tonight. That's the song by what's his name? Rod Stewart.
Okay.
And there's like they're a young couple trying to run, and there's these trains. Then there's this pop locker, but he's in a mod outfit, bro. He had a whole full trench coat and a hat, but he was pop locking.
Yeah.
But that's culture, like either it was a falsehood or it was a mixture.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because mods and skas, they did like they had their own little style of dancing, right?
And what do you think made them want to make that transition from like, all right, we're doing this in New York, but now we want to push it out of here? Like, how do you think it got to you guys in LA?
Okay. Well, like I said, we had our own version of what we was doing, and even while they had that thing going on over there, we had soulful locking and all this stuff, right? With rerun and cats before that were just like the lockers. So cool. Like you look at the when Michael Jackson was a kid.
Yeah.
And he was done that whole soul thing, right?
Yeah.
So all that was here alongside of everything else, soul, funk, and all this other stuff going on the West Coast. And you got Philly. Everybody has their own dances and styles.
Yeah.
So we had all that and our graffiti and whatever it was going to develop to. I would think with low riding and whatever else, you were going to still get some funky letters out of us one way or another.
Yeah.
It was going to be a way of expression.
It was going to happen regardless.
Yeah. What happened is what they were doing was starting to be media hit onto music videos. Oh, this is cool. Look what they got going.
I get it now.
And they had a structure where they grew up on the kung fu and all that stuff too. And that's why it was so the illest thing you see in one of the early videos, the Planet Rock one, and you see them breakdancing, and the photographer who clipped it all caught all that stop action motion, and it made they breakdancing look like a karate movie.
Yeah.
That's all like the elements. They put it. And so when we seen that, we was like, oh, it was almost like anything that you could be into, boat regatta, remote controls.
Yeah.
You get influenced or inspired to take it up a level. So
even being competitive, like for example, if I'm selling this cup, and I see you come with a cup, just like, oh damn, I gotta work on my shit now.
Yeah, no, when I seen the box, I'm like, man, okay. So that's how that works.
Yeah,
and that's a good competition. Even like I said, when I was in the cars and stuff, that's cool. So New York's influence hit us, and then those that was ready to go, that we looking for outlets. See, you can like I say, the other stuff was there. Right, the gang cultures and all that. And at the time, you coming out of elementary, and at the time, there was maybe more melting pot of gang thing. Like you could see brothers going into Vato gangs without a problem. That's why even when Colors came out, which was late 80s, right? Yeah. You seen the brothers in the video. That was a part of the thing because that wasn't strange to us. My homeboy Ron, he was on the borderline of like pushing some 20s stuff, but he hung with Chino from 18th Street, Chino 2, and up and down Pico, and he was more like a Vato to me. You know what I mean? He was more like a Vato, and then
it's vice versa too, though, because then you have homies that become from Black Hoods.
yeah. Oh yeah, no. My homie C Down was from Gear.
Yeah,
He was a Vato cat, but
Yeah.
he was went from Black Gang, and then M Capone from Schoolyard. Like it happens. I think there's a dude out of the Marvins right now. That's
Okay.
maybe he's mixed, but he's But going back to my elementary school experience, I'm in the class and I'm in the circle of at least of in this class, kindergarten up, Jerry Lopez
Okay.
and Jose Lima, and Jose is 18, and his folks are from out of Bonnie Brea,
Okay.
right? But we in Mid City. But this is just me, just like, how do I know this? Because this is what they talked about and brought to school every day.
Yeah.
Right? Then I got Jerry Lopez. He's from Harpies. He comes in, he's teed up in elementary. You know what I mean? Years later, I would see his wife because they had been together since then.
Oh,
right?
wow.
And had family.
That's a long time.
I seen in Target in the 90s in Culver City. I seen his wife. And unfortunately, Jerry had gotten transported back. He did some years and got transported. But she's like, yeah, and his sons look just like him and all that. I'm like, man, from elementary, you kidding me, right? So, but these was my homies. And like I said, we drew cars, we drew all that. So then the graffiti comes in by the 80s. Like I said, I'm coming out of junior high.
Okay.
And I got my mod, my two steps, right? The selectors, the checkerboards, the buttons, the whole thing. And I was on that, but as all that hip hop, all that was starting to creep through, and then like I said, little hints in there, and then the heavier stuff of rap, started to leak through more.
Okay.
And then you get then obviously, and I'm so far back. By the time I say Run DMC, which a lot of kids look, this is off of their vibe, right?
Yeah.
But some people are like, right?
When
But,
it comes to terminology, brother, like the term graffiti, right?
yeah.
Were you guys using that term before? Like when you guys were seeing the gang writing, were you guys still calling that graffiti? Or was there another term for it?
Well, it wasn't called tagging.
Okay.
It would have been called graffiti. It wasn't called bombing. It was just graffiti, or strike up. Hey, you gonna go strike up in the alley over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna strike up. I did a strike up. You might if you got homies, you doing roll calls. That was one of the first times I got busted. Over in Mid City, doing some roll calls. And at the time I was pushing a hustler click, and I got caught over there on Washington. I was riding. I'm on the bike. I'm on the handlebars of the bike, and the homies ride me through and let me off, and I'm getting it up. And them fools rolled off on me. The police rolled right behind me. Like, y'all supposed to tell me. Hey, and so I get caught up, but yeah, man. So it was called striking up, hitting up, But yeah.
Because I know the term graffiti. I know it was more used when the New York style stuff coming in.
Yeah.
Because for like Mexicanos, they say placazos.
Yeah, placazos, yeah.
And that's why I asked, was there another term or was that term being used as well? But now that you say strike up, then now I understand that strike up was another terminology.
Yeah. Or that or hit up, which hit up was so big that at one point, that was my dedication thing. Just like you can do a cloud and a memorial, rest in peace. So that would just be the Los Angeles thing. Okay. Whether you into graffiti or not, you could just do a cloud, R.I.P.
Yeah.
The first thing in my mind, I'm thinking my boy Clever.
Okay.
Right, but you could just do that. Anybody, that's somebody that grew up in your neighborhood, you non-related to anything, but that hurt. Someone died. Rest in peace, that person.
Yeah.
If you can do a character, that take it to another level.
Okay.
But you still might not be a graffiti artist or a gangbanger. You had different things. You could have been a hustler. You could have been a trendy boy. Like they had Posse, Sex Jerks, KODs, and some other stuff.
Okay.
But, out here in LA, one of the things I coined this term, in Los Angeles, you could be a Boy Scout and become a gangbanger. Because you'd be rivaling with the other school and the other cliques, and it'd be like, why does it get to this level?
Hey,
you know?
homie, the Boy Scouts. Hey, homie, I could turn on a fire real quick for you.
Right? Oh, man, them
Sticks
fools-
and rocks.
Right. Yeah. So
And
you know.
at what point they start adapting to the new graffiti that was coming in from New York and adapting that to your LA style graffiti?
So that part came into the 80s where, so like I said, you seen it on the train in the videos.
Yeah.
You seen the proper bubble letters,
Okay.
the bomb, a piece that said the bomb
Yeah.
with an explosion on the top.
Oh wow.
That set off, that was
Yeah.
like, wait. You know how they say a picture can say 1,000 words?
Yeah.
This is in the 80s. There's a war overtone, right,
Okay.
in the world, right?
Yeah.
There's always, we're going to go to World War III. We just came out of Vietnam. There's all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Then boom, somebody draws a piece like these, letters that says and you wonder, with the clouds, how creative.
Yeah.
It says it all right there. And that was influential. Like I gotta move in on like developing that, because the freedom in that was you can make it look like however you want. It's
Okay.
it's no limits. So that was between 82 and 84.
82 and 84. Okay.
So now I'm in junior high school, and my goal is to do a Smurf piece. Well,
Okay.
not the Smurfs, because that was, look, at the time, so Smurfs was popping, right? Cubert was high school, so Smurfs was popping. We were the Seven Dwarfs.
Okay.
I was Grumpy.
Yeah.
Grumpy from the Seven Dwarfs. And, not to be explicit, but drew a piece because everybody in the school wanted to be Smurfs. So
Yeah.
it was like white beanies, white sweatshirts, blue,
Yeah.
jean 501. So it's
Yeah.
like, we're going to be different. Me and my boy, shout out to Craig, my boy DJ Cool. That's Bashful. He came with the idea. So we put the 7DS.
Okay.
And what's so crazy is in junior high, you get this sub culture. Your thing could take off in the gangs real quick if you don't balance it out right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just clicking, go to the thing, the parties and whatever. But a lot of our stuff, the sailor hats.
Yeah.
We was into sailor hats.
Yeah.
And then we was into sweatshirts, 501s. You might have you didn't have a rag, but you might have had a white cloth in your back pocket,
Yeah. None of
creased
that.
out.
None of that tight jeans with holes that you see today.
No, we didn't have that. But the 501s, when you look back, sometimes they was straight leg, real tough, but khakis, all that. Yeah, that was like 7th grade up, right?
Yeah.
And so we have a 7 with a DS, 7 Dwarfs.
Okay.
Your name on the back. And then, so I drew a little piece of the 7 Dwarfs running the train.
And at this point, you were already practicing how to piece and stuff.
Well, I already drew.
Okay.
I've been drawing since kindergarten, elementary, like
Yeah.
trying to keep up with my sister, right? So now, like by 9th grade, I'm a mod, but we also got this other thing going with the 7th, and I draw a little one. They run a train on Smurfette, just the clown, because we were outnumbered. It was like
Yeah.
only 7 of us at school.
Yeah.
So I did that, and my goal was to put it on the playground field at the junior high school up at Sutter in the valley where we was going. But
Okay.
we always planned the mission. It never happened. By the time we left from Sutter, went to Taft. Now, who's
Is Taft like the high school?
Taft High School?
Okay.
Right. If anybody ever seen the Rocky Dennis story, that's where they filmed it at.
Okay.
The dude. Okay, so rest in peace, Shabba-Doo. But for anybody that knows these 2 breaking dudes that were in the movie Breaking By, that was about the brother that just came through the other day.
Oh, Carmelo Alvarez.
Carmelo, right? About the Radiotron. So
Yeah.
the 2 dudes that danced about the program for that, when they were trying not to get to keep it open, keep Radiotron open.
Yeah, I think it was called Save the Tron.
Save the Tron, right?
Yeah.
So then the movie was Breaking 1 and 2, and that was our West Coast. Some people, it's cheesy, man. It was our West Coast, our version of hip hop. We didn't get it like they had it. It was a little more commercialized down here.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the young brother, Boogaloo Shrimp,
Yeah.
he would come up there and battle. We heard at the Taft, be out there in front of the school. So we was like, man,
Oh, so you were at high school at the same time with him?
he had been from before me, and by the time I was coming there, he had been always coming up there, and they'd be like,
Okay.
he's out there. So that
Okay.
was like the craze, right? There was I think Graph One used to do a lot of the flyers. He was the one that battled and got his stuff up in the early stuff at the Belmont.
Okay.
Right, and used to go to the
I think him and Chandu had a battle.
they had that battle, that famous
Graph
battle.
One and
right?
Chandu.
So he was doing flyers for a lot of people at the time. And there's another cat named Brandon that was really ill. He later became known for his dancing more than his graph.
Yeah.
I seen him in a bum fight video too. But his name was Brandon. He was a year older than me. He was in there. So then also this is, mind you, so we still getting it filtered through. I didn't get that book. I didn't get the Subway Art book, right? But by the time I seen it, because some of us just didn't either, our family, the money wasn't right there to get it.
Yeah.
Some people's moms said, I'll take you to the bookstore. You can get it, right? Some people got exposed to it different ways. But when they brought it to school, then we got a hand on it, and like that. So
That was Subway Art?
Subway Art was like that version, like that immediate version that I seen first. Right?
A lot of people have mentioned that book to me. I have it, and I've seen it, but I wasn't there when it came out. You being there when it was popular, was that like something big to get your hands on?
It's the Bible, bro. It's the Bible. It's just like when I found those pictures back in the day of the Teen Angel stuff. Like, this is where I want to be at. This is where I want to be. If you like music, and all of a sudden you stumble across something that show you records, all these beautiful records, and then you see where to get the records made. Everything had it just like the spray paint.
Yeah.
You're like, this is where I need to be. Lowriders, anything. So when we seen that book is what took it to the top, because let's just say if it was a collaboration of all LA graffiti or all West Coast, like let's say Oakland on down to San Diego. And it was whatever it was, I think it would have influenced the world the same way. People might have started saying, because even in Chicago, they had the 4-block hustlers and all their gangs.
Yeah.
And they did like pyramids and different icons to show their stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it would have the same influence, which, if you think about it, the West Coast has influenced the East Coast by now, and even China and Japan, right? Japan. So
and all over the world, you got places like Amsterdam, Turkey, Russia painting graffiti now, and it's all been influenced by the West Coast.
Well, yeah, because they're our style of it. So I think once anything just gets marketed on a vast, right? So their thing was so tough, and us seeing box cars of trains, subway trains. And I'm like, man, we got to turn our shit up. So you every day, like you trying to be inspired by, this one or that one or this one. So, and those that did a little more studying into it, or there's a lot, for those that came from New York.
Yeah.
So we only had a few transplants at our school. I went to, like I said, to Taft. So this is where I get to knowing about the Bomb Squad.
Okay.
I'm from Mid-City. I'm riding with a lot of kids from South Central, and we showing up at Taft with kids from over on that end by, what's that, Boylston? What's that east part of East LA? Boyle Heights.
Okay.
We bust over kids from Montebello. That's where I meet Riz. Not the Riz Rock now, but there was a Wiz from Montebello. That was my boy.
When you say Bomb Squad, bro, what do you mean by that?
I'm talking about the OGs. I'm talking about the Cartoon, Rick's, the original LAB's Bomb Squad.
Oh, Los Angeles Bomb Squad.
Yeah, them dudes. Like, see, and what was so interesting, for me, in my experience, just like there was a lot of Ice names.
Yeah.
I went to school with Ice Cube. I was in graphic arts with him. I said, Cube, you sure you want to, like, I don't know if I call him Cube as much as, hey, O'Shea or whatever. Hey, you don't want to switch your name up? Because I thought I knew everything.
Yeah.
Everybody, you got Ice-T, Ice this, Ice Rock. In UTFO, you got 2 Ices in the group. So Ice was such a name, and it was starting to play out. I thought I could tell him something different. He made a name of that name. But my point to you there is that was still a development level of hip hop era, and I was meeting these dudes from that era, and there was a lot of bomb squads. Anybody could have said a bomb squad. That's just a unique name. Yeah. No, they were the real ones. They were the real. Like, you could hear a New York bomb squad because it's like a title like CBS.
Yeah,
it's something common beyond the streets. It could be a real LA bomb squad that puts out bombs.
Yeah.
So no, they were the real ones.
Okay.
And there was cats that was going to school with us that maybe only were influenced, but the real one that was like associated with them for real was Rio.
Okay.
Rio was down with them, and later his name was Rick. Later he would become maybe from STN, UCA primarily, I believe. Then as I do a little more research, because after we didn't go to school together, I didn't see him. But I did some research in the last few years, and I just was, damn, my boy is popping up down with not the SM, well, kind of the SMD homies. They hung with okay, it was Genius in them. Okay, so Genius, Frame, DTK5.
Okay.
So DTK, he would be with the DTKs. So what he was bringing to school was another thing that influenced our table. I'm at a table with my boy Henry. This is eventually where Clever comes from.
Okay.
Clever was on the South Central, but
is he from like the Gardena area?
Gardena area, right?
He's no longer with us, right?
Rest in peace. 87. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Cartoon, WCA.
Yeah,
brought
that's
him up
where
to
all
me.
that. Yeah. So we was in DF together.
Yeah.
With Sphere, OG Abel. Okay. So my boy Michael Henry is who introduced me to Clever.
Okay.
Okay. So Michael Henry, we were all at the B-Boy table. Brett, which was DJ Epic, who produced for Throwdown Twins and Search.
Okay.
And more people, right? Okay. And MC Light, he was at our table. Yomo from Yomo and Marky.
Okay.
Marky was right behind me. They was on Ruthless Records. All of this is our hip hop table at
Damn, what a time
Tab.
to be alive.
Man, look, I thought Crenshaw High in Washington was the only, and maybe we're Easy and them, out of Compton.
Yeah.
I thought those were the only band and where cats were coming out with hip hop. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
But out of Taft, like where is this school? Nobody knows of this name when I tell them where I go. But we got hip hop heads at this table, and we were the developing beginning of what happened. So Rio was there. I get to learn this. I'm seeing this UCA type of flavor, and I got to go to want to get down with that.
Yeah.
It's a chick from New York. Like I said, we only had a couple of people from New York. That was Stace.
Oh, you already had people that painting in New York move to LA and establish here as kids?
But that could be anywhere. I'm sure like people from LA were moving out
Okay.
there. So we had a couple, and at my high school, as far as, okay, so if you either getting out of the khakis and getting into Lee's, right?
Okay.
You either break dancing, which we was doing. I was coming out of being a mod, getting into the break dancing, right? Right? Yeah. So we were going and buying our gear, but when you see somebody come that's from the source of where that kind of thing get out, they do it a little different. We getting the belt buckles with the movable letters. They getting belt buckles that's the solid letters. And we like, where you get that at? Like, how do you get your name and it's solid? Like, I'm confused.
Yeah.
So like they thing was just different. They show up to school. You might have thought because we not coming from where it's cold. We didn't wear turtlenecks. You like, Mama, don't put me in turtleneck. I feel like a turtle,
Turtleneck was
right?
a thing back then?
Well, for New York, look, man, the B-boys would come to school with a long chain and a turtleneck, right, and a Kango, and you like, what is that? What is that made of? Terry cloth? Bro, they was coming ill, but straight and stiff, right, with the jean jackets. So, this chick named Stace, and then the next year, another dude, she called herself Legs, and another dude named Crazy Legs, but he couldn't really get down with the graffiti.
Yeah.
She could a little bit. They both got breaking. But if they're supposed to represent the essence, that's why I see if you from LA and you go somewhere else, you're gonna have what they have. But then for those that want to be like you, they're gonna be like, what you got going? You feel me?
Yeah.
And so that's how that influence was. But as far as the hardest graph that was rocking through my school, other than my boy Sketch, not the Sketch that was on the wall as much, but his name is Andre Hampton. It's a brother. He was doing badass characters and burners. He hung with Nonstop from LA Breakers.
Okay.
Right? So that was my other partner on the west side of LA.
I know you mentioned the gear that they were wearing and stuff, like turtlenecks and stuff. Can you share a joint where you guys would go and buy this stuff at?
Oh, man, downtown, Bombers were something more, if I can remember the name. We talking about 85, 86.
Yeah.
So we was hustling, and we was
the belt buckles and stuff.
Okay, belt buckles you might find somewhere, depending on where downtown, little random store you walk,
downtown
like
LA?
7th Ave, 7th and Broadway, like type of area, right? Back on that East End. And then Fox Hill Mall started having them, so we started getting them up there. But I'm trying to remember, and then the Kangos was on that, I'm trying to remember the name. It was a very known fashion place where to get your leather coats at.
Okay.
I just can't remember it. But like 85, 86, when
So it was available. You guys didn't have to like make it yourself.
oh, hell no.
Okay.
No, not that. Like you might make some, like try to make a name hanger.
Or like
you
a
know what I
jean
mean?
jacket.
Well, oh, we did our jean jackets,
Yeah.
right? We did that. We learned and figured that out, but just to like making a name hanger, like, cause you might not have bought but you might have seen it's like, how the hell he had something hanging from me? So you figure it out and you try to create one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just like caps, if you couldn't be told what to do, you was trying to create it. Cause a lot of I like what with the K2S OGs and the LA Bomb Squad was talking about. Cause when they talk about these tips,
Yeah.
and we're to get them, we were like, where you get it? Where do you get that? No, it paint like real square and chisel. Like, what is that? No, I don't know. It's just a regular stock. And some cans came with it stock. Some didn't. You had to find that. And on tester cans and adhesive cans is where they was found.
Oh, okay.
And it took what you did to another level. But obviously, if you learned to paint with the regular cheapo stocks like that didn't have no shape to them, is where you really developed your can control. So
Okay.
yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
And at what point, brother, did you pick up a can and say, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take this on? Like,
84. Yeah, I mean, if I wrote on anything before that, I was trying to figure it out. But like I said, a lot of like I was tagging. So I was definitely using a can.
Okay.
And I was doing, even when I was a mod in the 9th grade, I was like 83, 84. I'm still, now that you say 83, 84, then I was doing like stupid writing before that.
So like
But-
at what point did you actually start being like, all right, I'm gonna start like
Turn it into
bombing
art.
and bubble letters?
Well, so even with the mod thing, I was trying to draw letters. It just wasn't me seeing it as B-boy.
Okay.
I was seeing it as a mod. So I was just trying to do the most creative mod stuff. We used to do the hats with the characters with the ties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that with the broad show, like bomb like that. And scooters, you know what I mean? That was our thing. But then, and I used to love, even though I wasn't a rockabilly, and I love rude boy stuff because I was into Prince and the whole rude boy thing, right?
Okay.
But, and then even some punk. I was going we was walking to Melrose and catching the bus to buy our clothes, fashion and stuff.
That's crazy
So-
that you say that, bro. Because as a kid, I grew up with punkers, right?
Yeah.
And they would go to Melrose just to buy these all black leather jackets.
Yeah.
And then take them home and draw on them.
Yeah. See, that's another. Even metalheads used to draw.
Yeah.
See, everything was. It's all expression. Eddie was the illest dude.
There used to be a graffiti shop right next door to the spot in Melrose where they used to get the jeans at. I don't remember. I don't know what it was called.
Workman's, or was it?
I think it was that one.
Or Hex's shop, Fat Cap, or which
I
one?
think it was Workman's.
Workman's. Okay.
And I would go in there, and then I remember just going in, and I was like, the coolest thing ever, bro. And then I would walk the alleys in the back where they have all the
Oh
bombs.
yeah, you guys came in a beautiful era, bro. You guys came when that was like. So what would you say, like early 90s, mid 90s?
We're talking more like 2005, 2006.
Okay, that was, bro. Look, every time you come in, it's just more and more and more and more. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And until it just gets all tore down and then you don't see it, then of course, then eventually it comes back. But you guys got a chance to see a lot of beautiful stuff. Like, cause even me, right? I'm away from the scene and I'm raising my kids and I'm here and I'm dabbling here and there.
Yeah.
But every time I come back, I'm like, ooh, look at all this. Ooh, I want to get back out there. And I just try to get down with one of my teams and bring my levels back up. But yeah, man, that's it's a lot of dope things over here, man.
And did you always have the name Mark7, or how did that come about? How did you develop that name to paint that name and go as Mark7?
Okay, so yeah, because you have to excuse me, because I may come back on something, but I'm gonna hit you with that answer.
Okay.
That came from, it's who I am. I was born on 17th Street, where my family had property. Moved to 7th Avenue when my pops had went back to jail. And all this I didn't know until I was cognizant enough to know it, right?
Okay.
So by 4 and 5, as I'm growing up here on 7th Avenue and 25th, which is another 2 and 5 is 7, I start going to kindergarten, wherever. But by the time I get to elementary school, I'm at 7th Avenue and 17th Street.
Okay.
7th Ave is over here. 17th Street's over here. But by the time we moved back to 17th Street, I'm like, damn, this is a pattern. So what's all this 7? And it followed me. Jobs, places I went, everything just kept being 7. So I'm like, I'm a kid who watched, right? I'm a giant robot. I'm a kid who watched Simba the White Lion. I'm a kid who watched Speed Racer. The Mark 5 was the car.
Yeah.
The Speed was the guy.
Yeah.
But his brother was Racer X.
Yeah.
Racer X was the number 9. I'm born on the 9th.
Yeah.
Right? February the 9th. Anyway, so that's 2 minus 7. It just kept coming back as 7 for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I went by a lot of different aliases.
Yeah.
But by the time I ran into I started doing the graph thing, because like I said, I had a lot of different aliases. I still do. So, and people know me for all of them in different ways. So I'm over here at split personality maybe, but I'm over here at this a dude from New York, and I feel he's supposed to be made because he's from Zulu, and he's in Mid City. I never met him.
What is Zulu?
Zulu Nation. The whole conglomerate of what they got going with that.
Okay.
So I figure he's made, like, you know what I mean? Like that's like Zulu, like, you know, that's the whole thing. So I'm like, I'm writing Unique 1 at the time.
Yeah.
Unique. And I'm like, they like, you want to battle you? I'm like, I'm cool, I got it. Art-wise, I feel I had it. I'm one of the earliest people hitting up in Mid-City getting pieces other than who was trailblazing it, Soon One, which we could talk on a little bit later. And then there was a brother named Kango that was from that area. So I'm hitting the area. Duck, the TW2s, a lot of them got Pico laced, right? Yeah. And so on 4th Ave and 3rd, they got graffiti on that end. So I'm getting my bid in. And I hear about this dude, and it's going to be a battle, but he don't even really get out, and he's an older cat. So I'm thinking this dude going to probably want to, you know, go somewhere else with it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to change my name so I don't have to be going through this. So I said, I'm going to go by my name, which no one could ever take from me, which is Mark. And then I went with the 7.
Okay, dope.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So, but, and then I just want to reiterate on one thing, and we keep it brief. So when I was influenced by the 10th grade of the different, you know, we all was cross expressing and throwing our stuff in the pot. But there was just like Soon was in my area creating all this history. Yeah. I was hearing about where the LA Bomb Squad was. No, they really hit up on this whole area, MacArthur Park, the whole, like that whole north, I could say North LA. It's not as far north, but you know, like lower Hollywood on back to, you know, Boyle Heights and whatnot. And I was like, I gotta go. We got to ditch. We got to go, right? Yeah. So I could find out what this is about. And they were talking about the Belmont. And even from Tommy's Burgers, the original Tommy Burgers on up, you can see they bombs in those areas. Yeah. So, and even like the one Ronaldo's that they did on the side of that was beautiful. So we would take ditch trips to go learn about this shit, right? Yeah. And then, so that's where a lot of that. I got a chance.
How was it, you know, being the younger Mark 7 and walking into the Belmont Tunnel too?
Man, that's like today when I finally make it over there to where any of the pyramids is gonna be at. I'm telling you, you like where you getting off by the bridge? You get off the bus and you're like, where is it? And then like no, and it's a pit, right? It's a, but it looked like it looked like it was a train station, right? But it's dusty, it's fenced off, and it's down here off an enclave off this hill. But we're thinking, where is it going to be? And by the time we start walking down the big walkway, the wide drive, like you could probably get 3 cars, or at least for sure 2, like going down the driveway into the bottom. And then you seeing all these big walls like above our head, like, you know, maybe 11, 15 feet. Yeah. You know, and we're like, oh, damn, look at this. And it's a gang of different crews. Yeah. That's like going to, like, you play baseball for your local park, and they take you to the big all out, and it's everybody's different teams, and
walk
you see
into the Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, and but like, let's say you went to the Dodger Stadium. Well, now out of town, it was a bigger picture. Have you ever been to any league game of anything? Like you have your local leagues, right? But if you ever went to one where they have, like, even when I was in Taekwondo, we went to somewhere where there was like the whole what you call those, like the convention center has like a whole thing.
Yeah.
So now you got like maybe 100 different squads.
Yeah. Now you got to
Competing.
Yeah.
That's ultimate, bro. Anything you do, you into fishing, whatever. We was going to a graffiti place and it had hundreds of groups,
Yeah.
right? Maybe 11 groups, but it was hundreds of motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So, excuse the cursing, but so we walk in there and we like, okay, it's 4 of us, center. Like not even my other OGs, 2 of the dudes that we were RTA at the time, rapid transit artists. Not even my other 2 Gs came with me, like, or there was more of us, like High C and Slight, but not even Made and
We're not talking High C the rapper, right?
No. Writers. But not even Center's older brother Sane came with us. It was like me, Center, rest in peace, Dello, who's from West Coast Artists and the New York crew, Tats, eventually from Tats Krew, and he was from West Coast Artists. Monk was his name, but Dello and Plex. He was the original Plex. So,
how did those guys greet you guys? Though, when you walked in, did you see anybody from Los Angeles Bomb Squad in there?
You know what? We did, but they wasn't greeting us. I'm sure that some of them were in there. All kind of different dudes was in there, but like they probably was in the midst of things, right?
Okay.
All the different, especially on their side, like it was like kind of an all day thing. But I think, let's see, the UCAs was most likely. I think I remember seeing my partner from school, an Asian cat named Scribe from like MGA or MG something.
Okay.
That I was surprised to see him there. But once again, these dudes was busting my school, so that was their sector, or at least, this is not Wilmington, but there's another area by Montebello. Like all those areas, those dudes were coming down there, and cats that went to school other places in the valley too. So we were seeing dude. If you seen 5 people other than the group you showed up with, it was a lot because it was so many people. Like, I seen at least 5 people I knew. That felt great, right? And we showed up, and then we asked who to paint, where to paint, and they directed us over to this little corner. And if you ever look at the Belmont pictures, it was this one little box corner, and we went over there and we did an RTA, and we buffed. Someone let us use some buff, and the buff we used, it took forever to dry, man. It was like almost like 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon by the time we was doing our shit. But we did our thing, and then we would come back. And just it's a sad thing because years later, not me say years later, like months later, Frame, I'm gonna give it up on you, Frame. We good now, that's my boy.
Yeah.
But Frame, he used to be like, I think it might have been because after we developed from RTA, within the year, it was kind of a fast progression of us looking at like, okay, this is the scene. And everybody is pushing, but we need to take ourselves into a new light. Because you got to understand, the group that I had gotten with, RTA, the name was Rapid Transit Bomber Artists.
Yeah.
We coming out of the like early 80 and breakdancing era. So our stuff is really old school still with the hip hop, just like LA Bomb Squad was, right?
Yeah.
But at this level, when you get the K2Ss and the DTK5s, okay, I'm gonna give that up because that was the LA guys prominently in that area that was pushing numbers.
Yeah.
But you can look in New York. There was the such and such 5s, the DEFCON 5, the ... this. So when we see numbers, we see them as, oh, that's a level of expression in your lettering.
Okay.
Just like, well, that's just numbers on the thing. But, like numbers in the name of a television. You see numbers. So we just start adding numbers into like, let's come with something powerful. So also you got these titles. So it's like, let's make a statement. So in ours, we said last to survive. We created LTS. It was with the 2.
Yeah.
But somewhere along that, in those couple of months, as we transitioned into that, Frame started some beef, and it started going, and eventually got bigger, and then it just subsided later.
And the beef was because of the name, or?
Because he's like, man, they're trying to be like K2S, and it was like, huh? Wait, I'm confused. And so, and that kind of like was fucked up because it made it look bad on my crew.
Yeah.
Right? But because we came to this point of calling ourselves this, but they have a history before me.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was from WFA, World's Finest Artists.
Yeah.
And then I became a part of RTA, and then we turned it to LTS, Last to Survive. So it was weird. And he started the rumor, and it was like, it was like I ain't gonna go too hard on him, but it was just, I guess it was the miscommunication was, like we wrote our name higher than his, like as if we were trying to say we're better than him.
Okay.
And it was never meant to be that. You know what I mean? Never meant to be any type of way disrespectful.
And was Frank even from K2?
At the time he was.
Okay.
At the time, but he was also from DTK5 at the time. Right. So you know, it was just a confusing. And then so, you know, there's a whole period of time where people came through our yards and they struck us out, man. They crossed us out and a lot of stuff. And it was like, why y'all coming to the yard? Like, you know, holler at us, get out. You want battle? Like, what is it really about? But it was just a lot of viperish type of stuff going on, but it was confusion. So I like to always set the record straight of where that initially our name came into that aspect of calling ourselves with a number and the survival part, because it was real. You know what I mean? Like, that's a statement. I lost my pops when I was 16, man. He was murdered, bro.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends in our, you know, growing up from where we were from, people died, bro. So with that being said,
the meaning meant so much to you.
it meant a lot. Right then, at the time, serve, the word serve meant a lot, right?
Yeah.
To serve a purpose, or I'm going to serve you, you know,
Yeah.
serving, like, right? So last to serve, okay, well, at a battle, if it was like the graph battle, the hip hop battle, you know, we going to be the last one. Okay, so all the minions, you know, the little homies, they gonna go first, and then we gonna be the last to serve. You see what I'm saying? So it was all symbolic. Another point I just wanted to make with so that was the Belmont, but then you had Radiotron, 9th grade and up.
Yeah.
Right, cats in my area. That was the hip hop cats that we had to battle, and then we became our crew WFA. They went to Mount Vernon and then LA High. Some of the cats that they used to hang with was a developing little clique thing that probably became a gang called Alley Boys.
Okay.
The Alley Boy homies, and maybe some whoever else, because you know you had Mid City and Drift. Like, we grew up around all this, and then eventually everybody started having issues with each other.
Okay.
But the Alley Boy homies introduced my boy Dirk Six Mooney to, hey man, y'all do that hip hop thing, come to the Radiotron.
Okay.
So we would ride our bikes from Mid City, right, by World on Wheels, the brand Venice, all the way over there
to MacArthur Park
to try to see what's going on. We'd always come on the wrong days, you know what I mean?
A mission, huh?
It was a mission, but we loved it, and we was tagging all the way, right? And so we would go over there and we'd be like, man, where's that? Oh, look at that. Look at the big Geo robot.
Yeah.
I told you I was a kid watching Giant Robots, so you can't tell me I wasn't impressed and influenced by that. When I seen him do that, by the time I made it to the Belmont and seen Prime do the Bucky O'Hara robot, which I didn't even know where he got it from. I just seen a dope ass robot, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, and his piece was giant, like, right? I'm like, amazing. So it inspired me, and I started developing my own robots.
Okay.
So yeah, I was always inspired.
And I respect you for that. I respect you for being able to say, I got inspired by something or someone, because a lot of the individuals have egos so big that they can't be like, you know what, you inspired me.
Oh, hell, man. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is a lot of that, but I got to give it up because, see, now, what also could challenge that is a lot of times you don't want to meet your heroes. You don't want to meet your heroes, you know. Look, I got love, and a lot of times, like right now, like even Soon, I love that brother, right?
Yeah.
Soon, and you might have heard about. So this cat came from New York, and he was the trailblazer of various and a lot of LA, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And as he did it, my boy, rest in peace, J. Cool. Okay,
Rest in peace.
we used to work at World on Wheels, New York cat, boom, boom, fresh fly. Later years with the Dreads, rocking with the LA Dream Team.
Okay.
This brother, I'm like, introduce me to Soon. And he gonna do it in the backyard. Like, we gonna meet up. I got some cans, bring some weed, Chiba. We gonna smoke. And we gonna go running.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because his letters influenced me. His bubble letters. Look, man, leader of the pack. You can have a lot of different people and you could go work at creating yours, but if you have no reference, nobody is your mentor, sitting with you, showing you this from A to Z what you do to be a G.
Yeah.
You got to get it on your own.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's a lot of us how we had to do it, and maybe other places. So we met up with him in the backyard, and the dude smoked our weed, and he rolled on the ground like, and we sitting around, And then he just like never went with us. And we were like, man, I ain't gonna wait till 4 in the morning to go with this dude. Like, all right, Jose, see you later, bro. Like J. Cool, like, man, like this dude just fronted on us. So I'm like, I gotta go hard. I gotta go be me.
Yeah.
So I felt disappointed because I thought he was gonna see my potential and roll with me. He, after later talking with him, he expressed, oh man, I didn't even see it like that. I was already doing these other things and da 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 da.
Yeah.
Now, on your show, like a lot of people may not know, just in the last month, the brother inducted me and brought me on. You know what I mean? I've been building with him for the last few years, for a lot of years, but now I'm a part of the Young Lords as well. So that's a beautiful thing.
I shout out him for that.
Oh, definitely shout out to him and shout out to Skill and my man Poet, and rest in peace, like I say, to J. Cool. But just the whole thing, man, like it's hard because when you go to somebody humbly, they could just dog you.
And thank you for sharing that, bro, because I've been in those same shoes, bro. Where like, I come with, okay, what does he want? Bring some 40s.
Yeah.
Bring a box of cigarettes. Bring this.
Yeah.
And then you go right there, your backpack, you're all excited.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there like, all right, bro, what are we doing, bro?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm just sitting here, bro, like what? And then you go home like, man.
What just happened, right?
Like, what the fuck? I thought I was going to paint with the homie and he was going to see my shit and I was going to be like, damn, he acknowledged me type thing. And then you're right there like, man, just all
you're at people's disposal. And that's anywhere you put yourself in. Like, it could be like they might just say, okay, buff the wall. And they might have a method to it. And they might at least let you create a little something or fill in something to see where you're coming from.
Yeah, yeah.
It just depends. But you putting yourself at somebody's mercy, bro. And sometimes they're a bit.
So that's why I try my best, bro, when I meet someone younger. Because I've met a lot of younger cats throughout the way. I try not to be like that, especially when I want to talk about the podcast. Like recently, I get guys that want to talk, and I give them time. Like, tell me what you think. I respect your input, and we can talk. And before we get out of here, brother, I got 2 last questions for you, real quick.
Yeah.
I want to start by the last 2. If you could share a little about, I know you shared a little bit about LTS, but can you share a little bit more about how it did? LTS?
No, but you said share a little more about what else?
Of LTS, of how.
Yeah.
You share how you guys developed, but how it became to what it was and what it is.
Okay. Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, so as I mentioned, at that crucial turning point, coming out of 80, 85, 86, we transitioned into LTS from rapid transit artists. Within a year or 2, we started building with Danny, which was clever. Okay, right? Because my boy told me about it. From Gardena. Yeah. My boy, Mike had told me about him. He wanted to meet me. I met him at the Belmont, and this dude was an asshole. Like, I was like, man, he's like, no, he's trying to do something. I would call him in a sense like a Pac, not like to be Tupac, but he was trying to like create a crosstown thing. That's what DEF was. Okay. Doing everything fresh, and he had dudes from SMD and all these other crews down with it. Right? Yeah. And that's why you got the magnitude of what you had happening with it. But when they took him out, he passed away. Unfortunately, violence. And we did the Crenshaw Wall for him. And it was a joint production because he got the permission for the Crenshaw Wall, right? Clever. For the graffiti artists to do it. We was running up and doing shit. Yeah. But he got it legally running through Snake Doctor. Okay. So LTS rolled hard with that. But then, certain dynamics after he died, it just kind of died out. So LTS, we still kept our own thing.
Was he a part of LTS?
He wasn't a part of LTS. He was Bomb Force. He might have been down with my boy Rodder's crew because he brought the cats out of Inglewood up to, why am I drawing a blank right now? SCA. Okay. SCA, right? And then he created DEF. And so there's different patches of DEF. Like I said, it was a whole network. Okay. So it was an LTS faction of that. Yeah. And then you've seen the work. I got the documented work, right? Create has it as well, where Riot, myself, we all did stuff together. And then there's the hub of where he created it, right? Out of Gardena, working with Mr. Cartoon and Sphere and whoever else was
Sphere, which is OG Able?
OG Able. Okay. And there was an XL and different other cats. But then
you guys had some heavy hitters on LTS.
Super heavy hitters. LTS, and then Rich. A lot of people out of South Central, that was Rich, and then Create kind of comes off that line. Yeah. So there was a lot of with the DEF thing, and then once he died, it just kind of collapsed. You don't see them carrying it that much, but you know, we keep it alive. We do different things to do
Yeah.
it. But going back to LTS aspect of it, then we down here,
Because you're an original member.
original member. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so then by the late 80s, we getting, you know, I get in trouble. I'm starting to go to jail a little bit here and there. Things are starting to happen. We're getting older. Center and one of the other cats that was coming down to be with us that was down with LTS named Cool Boy.
Okay.
And then he eventually, Finn was down with LTS.
Okay.
Everlast from House of Pain was down with us. I gave the Ivory Dukes to them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So we had the Soul Kings, the Latin Kings, and the Ivory Dukes. Then going into Finn was rolling with us, and then he went with the KSNs and the BCs and the whatnot,
Okay.
right? And then Cool Boy went with West Coast. Then Center went with West Coast. And later on another podcast, we'll get into all these things because I was going to be in UCA at one point, which would have put me over there or associated with the whole Bomb Squad, K2S, UCA, STN, but it just never happened. Okay. I also was going to be down with West Coast artists because Tane, rest in peace, which was Design 9's mentor from West Coast.
Yeah.
He told me to put a piece in the creek, which we get into another time.
Yeah.
So I was going to be a part of some of these other crews, but it didn't happen. And a lot of adversity pushed me to really represent my LTS crew like I did. By 88, 89, some of the politics was like weird. We were getting older and Center and them, they became a part of the crews that we was kind of having like some little weird things with.
Yeah.
So we was like, wait, what's going on?
What's going on, bro? I thought you were home team.
Right. How do you do that? But it was time. And so they progressed on, and then Create came a part of that era.
Yeah.
And so as they became a part of that era, they also still kept it relevant at our Jefferson yard over on Jefferson off at Hauser. And so then the K4P started building with us, the RTNs. So at that point, Jimmer, myself, we extended to become down with the RTN.
Okay.
Right? And then we brought Dimmer, Yeski, and Create.
And the LTS crew
LTS.
to today, what do you say about LTS today?
Okay, so then fast forward to after through the whole 90s swing, which is a whole little thing that happened. KOG develops, I believe, late 90s, mid to late 90s, maybe even before. Don't get me like, because that was not my child. And then, you know, that's my family, but that was not my invention or whatever.
Yeah.
So the homies come, the KOGs come, and they just very innovative things happening with Braille and RB and a lot of the early, you know,
the KOGs
KOGs
took over.
They took over. I guess they were gonna maybe as they set it up, they set it as okay, this is how you get your stripes.
Yeah.
But then they just carried some weight so tough. I guess that's what. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean to tell everybody stories, but yeah, maybe I'm not because I don't want to step on them. You know, I can say, oh, this crew, and then they was like they other crew, and then but maybe I'm telling their story wrong. So let me not do that. Let me just say, like I said, KOG got their balls up so big, it was like, you know, we holding our thing down.
Shout out those guys for going hard, man. And
man, KOG.
before we get out of here, bro, last question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
That kid that wants to start painting today, painting graffiti, what would you say to him?
What I would say, man, love it, protect it, do what you got to do to develop it. Don't run out there so fast and not know nothing. Be open to listen to others so you can learn, but don't be nobody like, man, hold your head up and know whatever you bring it to the table is sincere. I don't care if it's from your tag, from your slaps, from all of it. We're all individuals. We're a soul from the beginning. So whoever you are and what you got to express, do that, because every crew in the beginning had somebody. I'm not saying go be Spit. I'm not saying go be the dude that tag and cross everybody out. Don't be that dude. But be somebody, because, you know, like we all grew up. So have just pride in who you are, right? Because we might have had people that was a part of the crew. Look, rappers had the people that stood on the stage like that, but he was somebody. He was somebody, right? That's the homie. He's standing there, right?
Yeah.
But he was somebody. In the graffiti, you had somebody that buffed and hung out, whatever, carried the stuff. But he was somebody.
Yeah.
He had a name. And once you get, like some dude, like there was cats like Rack, you know, but Rack, I think he might have painted, but he might have just been a
Yeah.
racker. So yeah, whoever you are, man, just represent it. And if you really an artist too, take that to some more levels and learn, ask around on what is toy and what's not. That's what I
Respect,
would say.
brother.
Yeah.
You guys heard it from Mark7 himself. I want to thank everybody that's been tapping in. I appreciate all the love, all the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out the Patreon. And it's all love.
Check out some music by Cram Nevis, Mark7.